Okay, I did Kane's Wrath without building units, and now it's time for CNC 3 Tiberium Wars Nod on hard with no units. But the caveat is there are a few missions that we can't do due to them being unit only missions. For example, the White House, Andrews Air Force Base, and Hampton Roads, you don't get a base. So we do actually have 12 missions still out of 16, 17 if you count the tutorial, that you can do with this rule set. And the rule set is simple. We can't capture Tiberium spikes, we can't build units except for harvesters, MCVs, and saboteurs only to capture mission objectives, and that's it. So, sounds challenging, right? Alright, we start off with Washington, D.C. Now this mission is a little bit weird because it doesn't start you with an MCV, it starts you with a crane. But you can build an MCV by building a war factory first. In fact, it's one of the only first few missions in the game that allows you to build MCVs for whatever reason. As you'll see in the next few missions, you can't build a second or third or fourth or whatever number of MCVs. For some reason, it caps you. But this mission here, it allows you to make multiple. So we take care of an easy first wave, we build up the shredder turrets and laser turrets. Now, I did the Kane's Wrath version of this before this mission, or before doing this challenge here. So I was not used to just how weak the laser turrets were going to be. So we set up here in the middle just to protect our mid from any enemies coming in. This is pretty much the only attack wave you're going to have to defend from. So if you set up really heavily here, which you might not even have to, honestly, you could probably push a little bit further than this. But we go ahead and we defend it up. We get rid of our defenses in the back, we take our infantry, put them in the corner of shame, because they don't deserve to be around. And then after we defend from that wave, it's easy to go to the right side of the map. We take over this portion here, and you just basically walk past it. In the lower right, or in the middle right of the map, you see some power plants there. We can ignore those. We're just going to start using our laser turrets and whack their base defenses. This is also the point in this challenge of the first game. I didn't notice they had line of sight, which I threw up on screen here. I had no idea that the hub turrets blocked your other turrets. So we go ahead and we move up north a little bit, and we just step in this base nice and tidy, and there's not much they do about it except for this insane little drop they do here. Those are heroic grenadiers, which actually just straight up cut through everything I own and make me very, very sad because we're out of money. I'm not allowing myself to capture Tiberium spikes, so anytime I'm out of money and there's no Tiberium for me to capture, it's kind of a grind. So they actually end up wiping out all of my turrets here, scary little boogers they are, and I end up having to run away. You see that little commander right there? I didn't notice him initially. There's an enemy commando there, and he scares me. Not much does, but that thing scares me. So I run away with my MCV, and the Grenadiers are trying to chase me, and not too much comes about it. So we set up down south here, I click on him, and I noticed he had a weird health glitch. It showed his health as like full earlier, it was actually half. I did damage him half, but for some reason, it just reset it. So right here, we plop out some more shredder turrets and we start whacking away, and of course they die. Those things are strong, and they do heal on their own. So we set up even more shredders, but we're trying to protect the shredders now with the building body blocks, so we can try to get past these stupid little things. And they are not smart enough to go outside their default range to attack the hub itself, and I figured out a way to deal with them. That was honestly a little bit harder than I was expecting it to be. But hey, you know, sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. And then we just set up some laser turrets and we start nuking away at their base. We eventually whittle it down, and that should pretty much wrap it up for this mission. And except I didn't notice right away that there is a war factory in the top middle of the map. Or I should just say the north of the map. So we deal with this command center here, we finish it off, and then we don't have to deal with anything else. So we go out and we kill this war factory now, we deal with it, and that's the end of the mission. We ignore the tanks, just go straight for the mission kill, and there we go. So that's the first mission down, not too bad. And here we have the score screen. We lost 204 structures on it. Next up, we have the Amazon Desert. So this is the mission where you have to defend the little research lab and then push north, destroy their little base, and then go to the right and destroy their big base. It starts off with kind of a decent attack, so we have some laser turrets set up a little bit ahead of time. You only have about 20-30 seconds to set this up, so go ahead and get them out as fast as you can. So after that attack is defended, we go ahead and push north, take the little middle area, set up a good number of defenses here because they actually do come with quite a decent attack wave, which is kind of quickly taken care of and we don't have to worry about it too much. So then we go even further north and we start setting up pretty much just outside the range of their base. We slap down our defenses in the forward position and they start dealing with the base. They will hit everything as it comes out by default, so we don't have to worry about their base too much because we are basically spawn camping them at this point. So there we go, we have the War Factory dead, we're working on the refinery, we've stolen their Tiberium in the back there, and now we have kind of a heavy attack coming on the right. Well, heavy in regards to we just have shredders and lasers, but we can easily overpower them with sheer number. Because the AI is not quite smart enough in this mission to attack the hub turret right away. Then we take that MCV, we go all the way to the south, and we go to the right here to set up the blue Tiberium field to get a lot of money, which we already have a lot of money, 15,000 in fact. Did you know MCVs can crush units inside those bunkers? I didn't know that, but yeah. So you can crush units inside bunkers with very large vehicles. Who knew? So we set up on the right side of their base using their walls as a defensive gap measure because they won't blow up their own walls. They won't sell them or do anything with them. So you can pretty much set up on the inside of them with impunity. They would have to run all the way around, which their AI is not set up to do that kind of pathfinding. They will just blow up the nodes that come out of the hub turrets and they'll let you pretty much have a free victory here. Kind of funny. So we've worked our way through a few of their buildings here, and you can see that their defenses are starting to slow down. They are kind of running out of money because we are now starting to destroy their harbingers. I believe in the first few missions of the game, they actually do obey refinery rules for money. So we set up our own refinery, start stealing the stuff from them because, hey, we can, and we're thieves, and that's what we do. Now, the most painful thing about this mission here is the fact that if I want to do any kind of killing with the laser turrets, I have to manually target each laser turret to what I want to hit if it's a building. Obviously, light, you know, they're big, they're one, they're singular. Very, very nice. However, if I want to do, for example, destroying this wall here, I have to target all these individually and then worry about line of sight if they can hit it or not. Because we want to move our MCV through this wall segment here to get into their base instead of trying to go all the way to the left and risking it dying. So we get it through that little gap there, we move up to the north near the field, we set down a laser turret near their airfield to blow it up. There we go, and we get it all nice and targeted. And then we start working on their barracks, their command post, and their MCV. Now these things have a lot of health, and laser turrets are not very strong in the base game. However, they are good for distractions. So that's their main purpose, is distractions. So we kill the MCV, and that's the end of the mission here. We are victorious. 99 structures lost, only very, very easy mission, and that's how you do that one. Now we're on to the Atlantic coast. So this is the one where you have to defeat the gun platforms, and that's pretty much the gist of the mission. You just have to kill gun platforms. You do not really have to destroy their base except for like that middle base. So we deal with this first gun platform here. It goes down pretty easy. There's really no enemy defenses to look at. They have like 2 predators that spawn once the map shifts upwards, and that's about it. And there they are. So we're going to actually defend pretty much right here on this spot because the AI is going to come in immediately to the right side of us because that's where that base is. There is the bonus objective to destroy this con yard, and I felt like I needed to because they do come with a lot of predators that get a nice spicy upgrade, which you're going to see here in just a moment. So we deal with the first attack fairly easily, and the rig as well. So we make sure we go up north a little bit, take a little detour before we push into their base to take this blue Tiberium field, because this is basically going to be how we fund ourselves for the duration of the mission, just because of how much money is present here. So here's where the spicy part comes in. They get railgun technology very early on in the mission. I mean, this is only like, I want to say 4 or 5 minutes into the mission, and they get railgun technology already, which is pretty fast. So we work our way through this rather sizable attack here, and as you can see, they are targeting down my hub turrets. That's what makes this mission so dangerous, is because they are smart enough to go after your hub turrets, and they will go after your MCV as well. It's very, very spooky all around. And of course, we use our stealth ability to kill their giant group of infantry, because those grenadiers will cut through our defenses fairly quickly. Even though we do have a lot of shredder turrets, sometimes grenadiers can get in at angles that hit them and you can't really do anything about it. They will target down our MCV as well, so we have to make sure we keep targeting down the pit bulls so they don't scan us. I do miss this one pit bull though, and that mortar is fairly strong. Once we deal with it, we are able to start to inch our way forward a little bit more, but they just keep coming out. We poke the ant colony and they are swarming. It's kind of one of those situations where it's just kind of a never-ending attack that just keeps going and going and going. But eventually we do work our way through it, and we just kind of start spawn camping them slightly, and that's where we want to be at. We want to be at the position where we can kill the stuff as it comes out of their command centers. So we keep inching forward, we move our MCV, put it forward a little bit, we build some more laser turrets, make sure we get that nice spawn camping down, and we just keep moving forward in order to take down their base structures, and there goes the first war factory. And then just to make sure that they don't build another war factory, because the AI on this mission does rebuild their structures. There are some missions that don't rebuild, namely Operation Stiletto. They will not rebuild their structures on that mission, I do believe. So we set up and we just keep whacking stuff down. There we go, there's proof right there that they do rebuild the barracks. And here we go, we've targeted the MCV down, and we're going to make sure this thing falls. And then once it falls, the rest of the mission will be fairly easy, because the only thing they have is down south. There's like a juggernaut, and I think maybe a barracks, and that's about it. So we finish off the rest of this base here. We make sure we take down the barracks, and we don't have to worry about the rest of the base at all. We can just kind of ignore it now. So we move on to the middle, or what do you call it, southern artillery tower here. And there actually is that juggernaut I was mentioning. For some reason, the juggernaut bugs out. I don't know if I did something to make it bug out, but he's just kind of jamming. So we end up taking down that tower with no issue. And then we set up on this one. There's just a bunch of riflemen here. For some reason, they don't really have any, what do you call it, the missile squads. And we end up taking out this base fairly easily as well. There's nowhere for those Firehawks to go, so we end up taking down the artillery platform, and then we don't have to worry about anything, and there it goes. GG. I'm not sure why that base is so psychotic in the middle, but it was actually fairly difficult, and I did suffer a little bit on that one. There they go, only 137 structures lost, not too bad overall. Getting over that middle portion was the hardest part about the mission. Now we're off to Slovenia. Now the first part of this mission is infantry only, so I've made a save where we're past the infantry only portion and into the base building portion. So we're actually starting off with a failed attempt here, because I wanted to demonstrate just how strong the AI attack waves, or GEI attack waves, are on this map. And I do my best to try to control all my infantry to strike the ground so they don't act as killers. Now hopefully that doesn't bother people, because I usually do try to move them out of the way, so later on I do move them to the bottom left corner. However, this very first attack wave ends up being so large that I just failed right away, and my command center falls, and I can't even get out of a singular obelisk of light. So it didn't go very well. So then failed attempt number 2 here after a reload. Once again, the left side absolutely crushes me after getting out only one obelisk of light. The enemy attack waves are very early and very large. And then here's number 3, where I get a little further, but they have the heroic juggernauts. These heroic juggernauts are the bane of my freaking existence. They fire fast, they fire heavily, and they can tank very many obelisk shots. I think a single heroic juggernaut can tank 5 obelisk shots before it goes down. So I try to make a decision to go left here. I want their Tiberium fields, because in the top left of the map they have their Tiberium, and I want it. So that'll help fuel my base defenses and my attempts at killing those juggernauts. So we actually work our way all the way up here. We destroy this little base that has been harassing us the entire time, and we get up here and we actually manage to set ourselves down. And we kind of have to wiggle a little bit, but we do wiggle, get our MCV unfurled, And we're actually able to set up a refinery now in this corner up here, and we'll set up defenses and steal their Tiberium from them. I believe on the right side there is no Tiberium, so this is the only source of money on the map. However, the AI does cheat on this one, and I noticed something here. That Juggernaut walked to the north, and that gives me a very good idea on what I need to do to deal with these Juggernauts. Because I'm thinking, if the Juggernauts only patrol instead of actually hunt you down in that area right there, then I can actually steal the left side, put the Tiberium truck there, and then I don't have to deal with the Juggernauts anymore. So I try to put this theory to the test and see if it works out. So we reload an earlier save. That's basically the start of the game where I just have a few defenses put up. So this is very, very early on still. We still have like the avatar arrival thing, so it's quite early on. We set up the north defense, and then we get up this left defense here. We struggle a little bit to get past this initial attack. We're letting our MCV tank a lot of the damage because they are more obsessed with killing that than our Obelisk Light that we slapped down. But then we push in the base, we kill the base, we don't have to worry about it. I left Obelisk Light up so they will spawn camp that war factory, and I just don't deal with the war factory right away. Instead, I take over this Tiberium field, and uh-oh, that's when I noticed something on the right side here. All of the Juggernauts appeared on the right, every last one of them. So we actually set up our Obelisk to try to attack. I mean, that thing got off 2 shots, and look how healthy it is. So we try to set up another one to see if we can kill it. I am wasting a lot of money, and this was kind of a big mistake on my part, because I didn't clue myself in to move the Tiberium truck right away, and this is kind of around the point where I was like, oh wait, I can just move that truck, can't I? So we actually did end up killing one of them, and that's like, nah, I gotta run. So we move our Tiberium truck to the top left, and we hope it works, and, well, look at that. The Juggernauts path upwards and ignore my base. I am completely free and safe up here, and there's nothing they can do about me here because they will not come after me. It's basically a free win at this point. However, there are Juggernauts in that position right there on screen, and they're angry and very, very upset at me. So I put up an MCV up north so I can start putting down power plants. My plan is to put power plants down as bait, so the Juggernauts will fire at them instead of my MCV, because you do not get stealth generators on this mission, because they don't want you just to stealth the truck up north. So I slapped down some Obelisk of Light right on top of them. Their own Juggernauts actually kill that watchtower. I don't think my Obelisk killed it. I believe their Juggernauts did by splash damage. So because they're so close to my Obelisk, they don't actually hit them in a very good manner. So my Obelisks are able to deal with the Juggernauts, and I am finally free of this menace. This mission took me about, I want to say, 80 minutes to clear because of these Juggernauts alone. Their attack waves were large enough to deal with, and I was kind of able to deal with them. So I ended up taking my victory lap here by destroying the rest of their base. You don't really need to destroy the rest of their base, but I hated them to the point where I wanted them erased off the map entirely. We get the truck to the north, and that's the end of the mission. In hindsight, it wasn't too bad. All you had to do was deal with the Juggernauts, and you can just move to the left immediately and you'd be fine. So if I had to do this again, move to the left, we'll be fine. And we ended up losing 149 structures only. A lot better than I thought. So if I had to do this again, oh, I could most definitely do it a lot faster than this. Alright, and now we're moving on to the Nod portion of Sarajevo. I do have a save file for this one, so we skip that first portion where you just have the truck, because I don't care to deal with it. There we go. So we immediately jump into here, and we notice these tanks right here. You see me try to click on them. I can't control those. Those are actually AI tanks, and there's nothing I can do about it. I even try to sell their war factory later on, and you can't. So I set up a little bit of base defense on the left side there. I get out some more harvesters for this big Tiberium field, and then I even drop another Tiberium refinery down here and another harvester so we can start getting out lots and lots of money, because we're going to need it for this mission. This mission is very money intensive if you play it the way I'm playing it. The very first GI attack comes from the middle, and I believe they always come from the middle path. I don't think they go on the lower right one. They come with Juggernauts and Mammoth tanks. It's not too much of an issue, although they do end up killing 1 or 2 Obelisk, and they will get taken care of afterwards, unfortunately. But that is $3,600 down the drain that I really could have used for later on in the missions. If I had known this attack was coming, I would have put out more shredders or laser turrets as a stopgap measure. On the lower right side here, we do have an obelisk shredder set up, so we can go down and attack the base that Killian will be bringing, or I should say fake Killian will be bringing. So then this attack in the middle comes again, and we do have a lot of shredders out this time, which does hold off for the most portion of it. I was trying just to hold off without actually killing them because of these bombers coming in and we have to deal with it. So in this portion here, we're actually attacking the fake Killian troops, and I thought it would be easy. I could just slap down 3 obelisks here, I would kill their obelisk, and we'd be all good to go. However, as you can see, it didn't exactly go in my favor. All of the Nod tanks come out as Vet 2, which is one off of Heroic, and they hit really hard, and they're actually able to tank obelisk shots fairly well as well. So I try to set up on the cliff here instead after dropping them down below, because I just got whooped right away, and I figure I can try to set up on the cliff to make them forced to go around to hit my stuff. But I forgot they can just aim up from the bottom and hit my stuff on the cliff, and my command center actually does go down here. Oops. So I try again, only this time I set up a little bit further away so I can have a basis to fall back onto. So if they do break my frontline defense and they push up to my command center will be mostly safe due to the ones in the back. So we set up again, doing the exact same thing. We have more shredders down below. We have our obelisk, and we sell the ones in the back this time because I pushed up. I'm spawn camping them this time, so I don't have to worry about losing at this point. I'm just trying to maintain my push on them. The AI does get infinite money once again. Game loves giving the AI infinite money, but hey, you can't blame them. If they had to apply the same rules as you could just turtle them out every single time and win all the campaign missions that way, then that wouldn't be very fun. So we actually do end up killing their war factory here. It gets out one more thing. I want to say it's like a stealth tank. And then we end up killing their air tower, and then we killed the MCV, which does put down a cheeky war factory at the very end. So then I move on to the GDI base, and we have a nice little cache of money here. Afterwards, I push up north, and we start trying to take the northern base. The northern base actually proved to be quite difficult. Unlike the southern base, which is tanks and stealth tanks, the northern base is flame tanks and flame Nod infantry, the Black Hand. I forgot what they were called for a moment there. So we set up some obelisks on the cliff here. My plan is to try to take over this bottom left corner, but they do have banshees bombing me, and it's kind of annoying because it takes like 6 SAM turrets to kill them, or 2 the SAM sites. I set up some obelisks up at the front here, thinking, oh, this will be easy. It might have been if I was microing my obelisk light. I was letting my obelisk light just kind of do their thing, but unfortunately they were having a lot of overlap at double shooting some of the flame tanks, so I ended up losing all 3 of those obelisk light. I also should have had some shredder turrets out, but unfortunately I did not have any queued. So I could have saved a lot of my obelisk there if I had microed my obelisk a little bit better. I do start doing that a little later on, but it was just much too late for me to do it at this point. I actually don't even have a save that I could fall back onto, because I forgot to save during this mission. Whoops. So they end up pushing forward, and I sell my MCV off to get a little bit of the money back on it, and they do end up killing all the shredder turrets here. This much defense in this spot up here is actually not enough to stop all the Black Hand and flame tanks that come after you, which makes it really scary. So we have another MCV back on the left side. I'm trying again. I wish I had saved so I could save myself the time and effort of going through the slow money slog. But once again, we set up on the left high ground, and I'm planning on moving my MCV up using stealth generators to get on that left side, but I back off because I am terrified of what just came forward at me, which is, what, 6 flame tanks? And at this point, I'm actually starting to micro my obelisk so they don't double tap a single flame tank, and we get the double kill there. And this does make me able to cut through them quite easily this time. And I don't even think I lose a shredder turret that time. I lose a few of them, but not like the hub. So this time I try to push out and take that top left there, because once I take that top left, I can start putting down obelisk light. I don't want to take the middle portion there, because that middle portion is very, very awkward trying to defend from. So if I can get this top left section, I should be able to put down obelisk light near their air tower, and it should cover their Hand of Nod and the entrances to their war factories. So we managed to sneak our way to the left here, when we're dealing with their infantry. We slapped down our obelisk, and just like I said, we killed that air tower, which you can't quite see. It's just north of our obelisk there because I killed it already. And our obelisks now are close enough to start slapping those war factories. However, I do fail to micro this time because my obelisks are more preoccupied with killing the anti-air defenses. I don't know why base defenses prioritize anti-air so heavily, but they will literally ignore units to hit anti-air, and it's really frustrating. So I tried again, and I started building some more obelisk light in order to deal with it. If I had microed that a little sooner, I would have killed that flame tank and kept that obelisk. So we do it again, and this time I am trying my full focus attention on microing the obelisk light here. We have a little friend in chat there on the left side of my screen, because I was streaming this. And now that I'm kind of in position to spawn camp them, we start whacking down the war factory, and we actually do end up killing it this time, which we're so happy about because this took a long time. So now we move our MCV a little bit closer because we need to set up and kill that other war factory, and then once we get close enough, we kill that war factory, we have our obelisk, they're able to spawn camp, we're happy. The war factory here will fall in just a moment, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. We need to sell the stuff in the back because once again we're so money starved that I have to sell a ton of buildings in order to keep the pressure up, because that one obelisk wasn't enough damage to kill that war factory on its own while dealing with flame tanks, so we had to get more of them out. Then all we have to do is clean up the rest of the base structures, finish the rest of the bottom base up, and there we go. That's the end of the mission. It wasn't quite as bad as I thought. Like, going back on it, there's a lot of things I could have done better, but it wasn't too bad overall. And 433 structures lost. Yeah, that's kind of how the rest of this game goes. There's a few easy missions, but most are like this one. Oof. Alright, next we have Ayers Rock. I do have a save that just bypasses the little engineer portion at the start. All you do is run to the bottom left, and then you capture the base from the back, and you don't end up losing any units or even the avatar. You get to keep all the stuff. We go ahead and we set up on the blue Tiberian field up here. I don't really do anything with the primary base. I pretty much completely ignore it. So we set the refinery, we set up a little bit of shredder turrets to deal with the marauders. They have about the same strength as APCs. And then the enemy's only threat here is a stealth tank. I think it's 2 stealth tanks. They almost kill my MCV, which I managed to stop command and unfurl, or unpack, I would call it unfurl. And we whack down another obelisk just in case. And then we go ahead and we press towards that north base up here. I want to take over this ramp because it's the only way the enemy really comes at you to fight. So I set up a bunch of obelisks, I set up some shredder turrets, and in the back of my head I'm like, oh, this is fine, I'll be able to deal with it no problem, and I can kind of not pay attention to it. We set up some anti-air defenses down there just to make sure that we don't get hit by like the laser patchy things. I can't remember what they're called, venoms, that's it, and the banshees. This big attack wave comes in. I try to use the stealth power, but it misses because I clicked on the cliff side and it goes behind the cliff. We take the time to set up a Temple of Nod, and I think the fight's going okay. So I put up one more obelisk of light, and then I decide to look away from the fight to try to set up a refinery in the top left, which was a critical mistake on my part because, well, watch what happens. Yep, I look back and everything's gone. Yeah, well, it wasn't such a great idea on my part, huh? Well, we do fix the mistake by putting down some more obelisks, throwing some more money into the problem, but hey, what are you gonna do about it? So we rebuild our defenses and we're good to go. Now, I did not know that this ramp existed back here. I've done a few challenges and yeah, did anybody know this existed? Am I just dumb? So we set up, we start putting down obelisk light on their high ground to deprive them of building any infantry because I don't feel like dealing with black hand squads anymore. Unfortunately, they do have a heavy number of venoms, which I do have some anti-air turrets to take care of, but I should have been paying attention and microing to kill that flame tank there. Watch how many things that flame tank kills. It kills 2 obelisks on its own, pretty much. So if I was paying attention to that, I would have still had all 3 obelisks. Instead, they managed to knock them off, and they pushed towards my MCV, which I had to set up some backline obelisk, and then put up some more on the front line in order to deal with them. But then after that part, we kill the rest of these hands and nods, and they're no longer a threat. Because I don't believe the enemy rebuilds in this map. So we set down a forward obelisk behind the little neutral structures there, because they won't shoot through it unless they're tall units like the Avatar. And that one obelisk is good enough to kill all 3 spawning war factories. So I try something cheeky. I put my MCV forward to kill these wall segments here and the neutral structure. My train of thought is I can cheekily snipe that headquarters there and we'll be able to get away with it, right? Nope, you can't build here. Unfortunate. So I take the nuclear option because I hate them. Lovely. So we go ahead and we move forward. We set down a shredder turret to take care of the fanatics. It does take 2 shredder turrets to get through them. I could have done it maybe a little bit further back, but we don't care. We have so much money, it doesn't even matter. And then once those are taken care of, we start killing the little temple there, or her headquarters, whatever it's called. And while we're killing that headquarters, we set up some obelisk here and then some shredder turrets to take care of any GDI that's going to be coming in. However, I don't set up enough. So we had to stop that ion cannon from going off. I moved my MCV down to the bottom right here, right below those power plants, because there's nothing they could do in this spot. I did get hit by the marauders and that sonic emitter. So the obelisk light here will take care of the threat. They'll deal with the command center as well, and we don't have to worry about it. By the time I pan back up here, most of my defenses are gone, and I'm kind of in panic mode. So we go ahead, I'm debating using the nuke on it. I'm like, no, I should be okay. So I set down more obelisk light, and we just deal with them the old-fashioned way. But unfortunately, they're quite strong still. Those juggernauts are brutal, and I should have had some shredder turrets to distract them. I go ahead and do a mine drop on them because, well, in the heat of the moment, you know? I probably should not have used the mine drop, but hey, it's too late to go back and change that, right? So we set up some more obelisks. I set up a lot more shredders, and we deal with it. And then I decided to nuke them. I nuked the incorrect spot here. I should have tried to find where their tech lab was. I believe it's in the bottom right, next to, not the, like the bottom right of the north, next to the refinery. But we end up dealing with the rest of these mammoth tanks, and we push forward afterwards. We drop some more obelisks, some more shredders. They can't do anything at this point. We go ahead and set up obelisks just outside the range of their war factories, so anything that pops out will pretty much get instantly deleted. And then the shredders will also deal with any infantry as well and distract those emitters. So we go ahead and we push on the right side here. This is where all their barracks are, and we can slap obelisks to deal with pretty much anything. I do believe, yeah, there's their tech lab I was talking about, right but next to their refineries. If I did this mission again, I would nuke that spot so I didn't have to deal with mammoths or juggernauts as soon as GDI was revealed, because I don't think they rebuild anything. So we do take the time to kill their heavy units first. My obelisks are dealing with the barracks as well. They will not rebuild them, I do not believe. And then afterwards, we will kill those war factories and push forward to kill the rest of their base. I set up a few more shredder turrets here to deal with the mammoth tanks, or let me deal with the mammoth tanks, to deal with the rest of the infantry popping out, because I don't want my obelisk to deal with those infantry. It's kind of a thing. And then we push over to the right, kill the rest of their stuff, and then we don't have to worry about anything anymore. Pretty much their base is dead, and at this point, I decide to finish with a little bit of flair, and we just go ahead and nuke the last bit of their MCV. Don't really need to, but hey, why not? It looks fancy, don't it? It's beautiful. And we are victorious. We only lost 177 on this one. Quite an easy mission, actually. Next up, we have Sydney City Wall. Kind of an easy mission, actually. Or is it? So our goal of this map is to reach that top right where I have the arrow pointing to there. And all we have to do is take a saboteur and fly him there. And that's all we really have to do about it. You just set him down and you wait. However, we have a little bit of a problem. I was maybe a little bit cocky, and I thought it was too easy, so I started setting up on the left over here to see if I could take out that screen base kind of early. And holy heck, look at all those units that just came towards me. I tried my best to kill them with the stealth field generator, but that's a lot of stuff, and I am not prepared for this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like what, 12 tripods there? Whole bunch of infantry. It's actually lagged my game when I was playing. Then we have a pack to deal with as well, and I do believe there's probably some storm riders, but they're not joining the fight. So we tried to set up in the back here, see if we can deal as many as possible. The shredders are getting some pretty good splash damage in, the obelisks are getting excellent splash damage in, but they're just way too much stuff to try to deal with, especially because we have no anti-air really for those packs because I have it up north to try to deal with any Devastator warships. And these tripods come in and they just absolutely massacre me. But I know this is coming now, so I can at least try to prepare for it. And also, I will have a little bit more money next time because I'm going to do some extra things. So we start over again, and we put down our refineries. We have our saboteur inside his transport, all nice and comfy. GDI will not hit you, so you don't have to worry about flying into space. At least I don't think so. And I noticed something interesting. All those ground scrin were following that transport. So for some reason, I think the transport bugs the AI in this map a little bit, so you have more time of not being attacked. Like, they literally won't attack you due to that transport bug. So we set up on the right side mid here to steal GDI's refinery. I do have a stealth field generator to take care of it. And then I cloak my MCV and I walk it all the way to the top left over here to steal this Tiberium. Because now we have plenty of funds for the mission and we don't have to worry about it. I do not capture the spikes because once again I cannot capture spikes. Alright, round 2. Can we deal with that nasty attack wave? I bait a few of the guys in to see if I can weaken the wave a little bit. I set up 3 obelisks, I set up some shredder turrets to deal with the little guys. And here comes the swarm. I do a big stealth kill. Look at all that juiciness right there. That stealth power is actually pretty MVP for a lot of missions in this run. It helps me MCV stealth and kill infantry so effectively. I don't know if I would have been able to do it successfully without it. So we set up a few more power plants over there because I'm going to be going through a lot of power here shortly. Look at how many obelisks I have set up and how many shredders I have set up to distract the tripods just to deal with the sheer volume of those tripods. So they walk forward and they are getting obliterated this time because they had to stop to deal with those shredders. And I just have like what, 4, 5, I think 6 total obelisks at one point. We set some more on the south end here to try to deal with the last of these tripods. Once these tripods are dead, they won't have anything else left in their base other than just a few small units to clean up. So we start pushing in on the left. As soon as we hear that attack trigger that says they're tearing down the wall, we have to immediately capture that lab because they will not do anything about it until you get that attack trigger of they're tearing down the wall. We push in on the left here, we destroy the portal, and then we go ahead and move up a little bit. So we're moving up, we get right next to that airfield or warp sphere generator. I do not remember what they are called. And we start whacking it down and dealing with the defenses. Those storm columns, I think, are the strongest defense in the game. At least I consider them to be the strongest. I really love those things, and I hate fighting them. So we kill their gravity stabilizers, if that's the name of it. And we push forward again to deal with their ground vehicle. Then we push forward and we take care of their vehicle bay. And then once that vehicle bay is down, we can go ahead and push onto their high ground and destroy the very last structure they have, which is this little, I can't remember the name of this nerve cluster here. And then that's the end of the mission. It's really easy once you know how to deal with the attack triggers. Victory is us. And here we have only 98 structures lost, so I think this is the easiest mission we've done yet. Maybe. Now we're on to downtown Sydney, a rather fast and easy mission, like surprisingly easy. I start off by making all my units go to the shame corner, and then we have to go and take this Tiberium field over this left side here, because it's the only way you get money in this map is this little patch right here. So it's kind of a money-starved map, but that's fine. You don't really need a lot of money. You could just build a nuke. So we take our MCV and we're going to actually push towards the top left. There's a very specific spot I want to set up, and it's right here. It allows us to hit the back side of the GDI base and protect ourselves from the screen and help GDI out with the screen as well, because anytime we shoot them, they will try to come down towards us instead of the GDI. And then while we're doing that, we set up on the south side of the GDI base because we don't have to worry about it. GDI ends up firing an ion cannon here, and hey, I am perfectly okay with this. Why do I care if they fire it at the enemy, right? So that takes care of most of the enemy. That's what makes this mission actually rather easy. And I decide to send off my own nuke here, and I'm going to bomb their war factories because I don't want to deal with the war factories anymore. They make juggernauts, and juggernauts scare me. So I use my obelisk I have set on the low ground here to destroy their structures, and it's an easy win from there. There we go, MCV down, War Factory's down, and we're pushing in the backside. The only thing scary is I think they have one Juggernaut alive and a small attack wave that's still alive, and I think one additional War Factory. So we plonk ourselves right down behind them and take care of their structures, and that's everything that really matters. We go ahead and get another nuke off here. We nuke their airfields and their War Factory, but unfortunately for me, yeah, that War Factory didn't die. Oops. And now, because we angered them, that Juggernaut has completely eradicated our right side base, but because they're distracted by that right side base, it allows us to push forward, drop these obelisks right here on their toes, and we start breaking down that War Factory, and then there's the game. If that Juggernaut was paying attention, he would have been destroying these obelisks back here, but he's way too preoccupied at our betrayal, and he's very angry at us. Oh well, victory is ours. Silly Billy. And we only lost 60 structures. That's the lowest we've had yet, I believe. Easy, easy mission. Alrighty, we have the Italian red zone. It's the Air Armada come to greet us. And I hate everything. But what we have to do first here is we have to take our MCV, and we're going to have to try to drop a crane because we need to get to this facility very quickly. There's a lot of storm riders that are going to be appearing over there, and we had Scoodle our Boodle to get over there. We have that crane dropped. It'll continue building structure for us while we're waddling our way over. And these bridges are very, very scary for me because I don't move very quickly. So I managed to plop my way over there, and I start dropping SAM turrets to deal with all these storm riders, and they are fairly tanky, so it's kind of an issue. And we just drop a bunch more buildings, a bunch more SAM turrets, and that will deal with most of what we have to deal with. To the north, there's some infantry, and to the left is Devastator tanks and the occasional like anti-vehicle tank they have. But we're not worried about that. We got the missile once we capture that facility. Oh, look at this. Oh, isn't it wonderful? We don't have to do anything this mission. So while we're doing that, I noticed this attack down here. Look how far away this is. Brother, that's just obscene. So I have an idea. What if I tried to use the missile on this screen airship? What would happen? It actually does damage to it, which surprised me. Now, I wasn't going to rely on that. I just thought I would try that out to see if it worked. We go ahead and we set up a SAM turret, and we deal with the screen airship that way. But then, back up north here, we have another catalyst missile. We drop it down, and we pan our camera away to drop this refinery, because that's all we're going to do this. So we're just going to use that ability, and brute force our way through the mission. However, we have a small problem. I look back up north after walking my MCV down, and uh-oh, I have to use another catalyst missile to take off those shields of those warships and start slapping down SAM turrets to deal with them. The Skrin stole the MCV, and yeah, 5% damage with the generator. I don't know why this facility didn't give me control of the facility. I captured it. I didn't get control of anything. I thought it was supposed to give you all the structures. It does not, for whatever reason. So we go ahead and we build up more SAM turrets to deal with all the air units. We get another missile, we plonk it down, it slaps, we're good to go back and worry about our defense down here. And once again, these airships are just absolutely donking on me. And that's the main reason why I was too afraid to walk across the bridge with an MCV, because I didn't think I'd make it across the bridge due to all the Devastator warships. Once again, we get another catalyst missile, we drop it, we move back, we have to deal with more Devastator warships plonking on us. And just as I think, man, there's two more here, I'm kind of struggling. Once they kill the SAM turret, I think they just walk away. They start coming in, and then nothing. They decide to run. I don't know why, but I'm not going to question it. Then once again, we get another missile, and we plonk it down. Bonk. And it doesn't quite get it. Oh well, we can try again. Victory! Alright, we did it. Yes, it's a bit of a cheap way to do this mission, but I hate this mission just because there's so many Skrin air units. You could just get Venoms, I think, and probably win the mission quite easily, but nah. We only lost 80 structures. Not bad. So I might have taken the easy way out of that mission, but hey, I didn't use a unit. It's allowed. Alrighty, and here we have Italian Hills, a rather easy mission because I think the AI is broken. It starts you off with basically just a crane and a few units, and that's it. So we have to go and capture that relay node, which is all the way to the north. They have some gravity stabilizers top right. We go ahead and set up our base down here, have a refinery, a tech lab, and everything we could ever possibly want. But nothing happens. So we move to the left side, the lower left rather, and we set up some more refineries, and then we look a little bit north to see if we can capture more Tiberium fields. And they have a few corruptors up here, which I'm a little scared of. They are strong versus buildings. So we go ahead and just plop down an obelisk, and whoopsie doodle, there's a bunch of photon cannons I forgot were here. But it's no problem. Our obelisk is very strong, and he does the smart thing, and he targets that corruptor automatically, so I don't have to because I'm sometimes dumb and forget to. But unfortunately, we don't have the shredder put down because I'm a little slow on it, and we do lose that obelisk, which is minus 1,800 bucks in our pocket. But we set up some more stuff, and easy peasy, we clean up, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. Don't you love them? And we push up, and we have our obelisk set down. We have it target everything to kill, so we can go ahead and take its place, and we plop down our refinery on their blue Tiberium. Yum yum. So I try to go to the lower right again and move up this hill. My worst mortal enemy, my nemesis, a slight incline. I can't get up the hill. I'm too big, I'm too bulky, I'm too slow, so I have to retreat. And then we move up towards the middle instead because, hey, the middle's flat, right? I can unpack anywhere. Oops, I missed my opportunity. Oh no. But the photon cannons, they don't hit buildings. For some reason, stuff in this mission is not scripted to hit your structures. I don't know why. So we go ahead and plop down our obelisk. It starts to take care of everything, and we don't have to worry about nothing. So we take care of their warp spheres, which, by the way, during that whole battle, spawned 2 units. That was it. All 3 of these spawned 2 singular units. So then we push up north, and I plop down a cheeky obelisk to kill their signal transmitter, because why not? A little drive-by obelisk shooting. And then we go to the top right, and we plop down some obelisks to kill their gravity stabilizers here. They have 2 storm riders and 2 pairs of shock troopers, and that's the entirety of what they have in this corner up here. Once again, the AI just doesn't build any units on this map. I don't know why. Our obelisk, there we go, has destroyed the second gravity stabilizer. He'll take care of this next one, and then we go get revenge on this base to the south here. But I noticed some blinking lights, and then I pause. I don't know if they have the scanner packs or whatever they're called to detect stealth, so I unpack immediately. I'm like, oh no, I have to deal with these zone troopers. I don't have any shredder turrets out. Once again, AI is not scripted to fight your buildings. Isn't that fun? So we get our shredder out, and it deals with these infantry. I do have to use an obelisk to take care of them. Oh well. And we get our fun out. Launch the nuke. Don't you love it? That's my kind of fun. We go to the top left, and we have our favorite enemy shooting at us here. Devastator warship. I panic a little bit. I drive immediately left. I stealth it. We're outside the range of any stealth detection, and we're good to go. We're also outside the range of that warship. But we go ahead and we plonk some SAM turrets down. We take care of that warship that's on the right side there, and that's pretty much the only threat in this base aside from some shock troopers, which we'll see a little later. And then we set up, and we're dealing with our shock troopers. They are quite strong against obelisk. I really like shock troopers quite a bit. So my choice is to use a shredder turret on the high ground here, which does for the most part take care of them. Those shock troopers don't actually move, so once they kill this shredder turret, our obelisk will actually take care of the rest of them. Then all we have to do is plant a hand and nod down, get our saboteur out, he captures the nerve center, and we have a really easy mission. Kind of disappointing mission here. The AI doesn't do anything. In fact, we only lost 54 structures, which I think is like the second lowest we have. So, easy mission. And now we come to Operation Stiletto, probably the scariest mission I was going to do in this challenge. So we actually take our saboteur, we move it top left immediately, and we take our other saboteurs and move them on this right side immediately. Did you know that the GDI nor Scrin attack you until you attack them? So we can literally stand our saboteurs here, which are uncloaked, and they won't get attacked at all. It's so dumb. So we take our time, we immediately capture 3 key structures on the Scrin side over here, we take away their ability to use any kind of tech, and then on the top left, we take the GDI's tech lab from them. So they can't build juggernauts or anything. I was debating on selling it there. We build our own drone airship here, we plonk it down immediately so I can start building some more photon cannon. We need to deal with these seeker tanks, and once we start cleaning up the seeker tanks, our photon cannons will start dealing with their storm columns. Now the storm columns aren't really strong against our photon cannons because I don't think they're actually shooting us. They're just hitting us with the byproduct of being a storm column. So once we take care of those, we immediately need to try to unpack this thing and escape with it, because it's starting to take a lot of damage and I can't out repair the damage. So we need to try to scootle our boodle down back south because we've now taken care of all anti-air. So now we do the grand escape. We see the corruptors come in, we need to run away immediately. So I start pathing it away, try down to the south. You can't cross that big gap there for whatever reason, I don't know why. We fly, but we can't cross it. So instead, we start flying down, and uh-oh, there's a big GDI attack. We go ahead and pop back up, we sell the tech lab, we go back down to the right. We have no defensive structures. Our drones are still in the air because I couldn't leave them over there. I plonk the non-critical one down because if you lose that critical drone ship, you lose. That's it. It cannot die, period. So we start setting up some photon cannons as soon as we can, and they are just tearing through my base. I had these power plants upgraded, but it just didn't do me any good. I plonked down a lightning spike because they will focus fire it. They consider it a high threat. And I sell the tech lab off because it's no longer doing me any good. And I start building some more photon cannons to try to take care of all these rest of these tanks. They are absolutely brutalizing my base. I get the important Skrin airship down. I plonk down a refinery. I have to sell the old drone ship off because I'm just out of money. And I'm kind of just desperately holding on. This mission, it was so many attempts. It took me an hour and like, I want to say 8 or 9 attempts to do this mission just to get to this point right here. Once I hit this point right here, we're pretty much in the clear. We get the last of the photon cannons out, we're finishing off these things. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to move those infantry you see attacking there. I just didn't think about it because I was in panic mode. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked everywhere and I'm trying to do all these things. So unfortunately, I didn't move them away, but they don't, hopefully they didn't influence the fight too much. And the last of our photon cannons take care of the last of their tanks. And we have basically no base. It's bad. We set down another refinery. And then we have another attack wave. I'm like, oh no, I can't deal with this attack wave. But look at this. For some reason, they are not coming further into our base. And it gives me time to decide what I want to do my next move. I don't know why they decided not to push into my base, but I think there might be a trigger on nod structures in the area, and they don't push in if they don't see any nod structures in a given zone. So we start building a bunch of assimilators here because I'm going to wormhole in, steal their MCV, and pop right back out. But we need to do one thing first. They have storm columns up there. So I need my own drone ship to distract the storm columns so my assimilators don't get instantly donked when they pop out of the wormhole. And this takes a lot of effort here. So we go up, we plonk the wormhole down, we go back down, we plonk the other side. We take our assimilators, we waypoint them away, put them inside the wormhole, put them on the MCV, we take our MCV, we put it inside the hole, it starts getting attacked, everything wants to come hit it, but it can't because those are only anti-ground units. We're being hit passively by the storm columns here. We get our drone ship on the right side, and I have 2 storm columns ready to go. I plonk the airship down, I start spamming my assimilators, we get the ship, I spammed it in, I lift the drone ship up, and my wormhole went away. So now we're doing the Great Escape Volume 2, and I have to go all the way down south. Now luckily, I'm leaving my drone ship behind. It's just going to get sacrificed. Look how many tanks were about to collapse on that drone ship that was critical to the mission. If I had not wormhole in at that exact moment, I would have lost the mission right then and there. So we get our drone ship all the way back to our base here. It's all nice and tidy. I get another drone ship, and I put it in this middle Tiberium field here, which gets heavily attacked. And I didn't realize that storm columns could be put close to each other. They have to be a set distance away from one another due to their little ion cloud thing. But I could have maybe taken this middle area first to get more money. It would have made the mission a lot faster, but I was too afraid to do it. But we easily take care of these using 4 storm columns, and then I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move. And I'm going to yeet myself up this cliff sideways. I don't know how that works. I'm not going to guess how Skrin physics work. You know, they're aliens, they're smarter than me. We get over the cliff here, we plonk our drone ship down, and then we start using our storm columns. Now I think storm columns are really fun to look at, so I'm just going to let this next section play out, not too much commentary in the next section. I'm just going to let it run really quickly because I think they're cool. So right now they are not only passively hitting everything with their their ion storms that they're producing, but they're also shooting targets. Now I didn't realize this at first. I thought they were killing stuff with their shot and not the little ion cloud they're producing, but no, that ion cloud actually hits the targets as well as them shooting stuff. So this whole time I could have been killing war factories while they just passively killed everything. I didn't even lose a single storm column here. They're a very strong defensive structure. And that's why I start with the scrin instead of GDI, because the scrin are way stronger. So we set up, say, even more storm columns on the left here. We start finishing off the rest of their structures, and they're just going to absolute town on everything. God, I just love storm columns. Best base defense, hands down. They're so fun. Look at these dang things, man. So then I go ahead and try to drop a simulator port or a portal here to mill the simulators to take this MCV. And what I didn't realize is that top left base up there, it's empty. There's nothing in it. It's completely dead. I did a few save loads to get past certain points because I kept failing on like the wormhole thing, but apparently it makes this base bug out. These structures are destroyed, but they still appear during save loads, so that's just a little graphical bug. So we go ahead and we float our drone ship all the way forward. Joke's on you, I'm wormholing my way up there. So I wormhole my way up there, I plonk it down. I'm afraid there's gonna be more stuff, but I didn't realize that one of the triggers to destroy enemy structures is gone. So that means the only GDI building left is literally this one right here. And the scrin beat them that badly, they only had the MCV left. So I got really lucky on this mission. And there we go and capture it, and that's this mission done. This actually turned out to be the hardest mission due to the very, very difficult attack timers. I mean, you do not have long at all to do this mission. Like, I think we have a very low mission timer, in fact, on this one. Let's take a look. Most of that 27 minutes was probably around 15 of me just sitting on that lower left base after I had crushed the top right, preparing myself for a GDI counterattack that never came due to that base actually being dead, which I just didn't realize at the time. So, whoops, I mean, you know, you learn things, right? But man, this mission was brutal, and it's the only mission I did not broadcast, because originally I was going to skip this on Twitch because I didn't feel like doing the mission, but then I decided, no, people are going to complain that this is a build mission. I should have to do it. So I went and did it just for you guys. Alright, this mission is a doozy, so I'm going to have Kane stare at you so you know how serious it is here. We start off the mission by trying to capture those top left Tiberium fields. The scrin do not attack your harvesters pretty much ever as you go up there, so you are safe to take them. However, there is a Tiberium field to the right that we want as well, so we build a crane here to drop it down so we can do some building for us, so we don't have to worry about it and we can move our MCV, and I do start building MCV as well along with more harvesters. We get on the right side here, we put down our shredder turrets, and we start building a refinery. Now, unfortunately, I did not take the blue Tiberium. I decided to take the green Tiberium. I'm kind of dumb sometimes. The lower right base has infantry that pop out at vet 3 already. Like, they're one hit off of becoming vet 3. It's crazy. They do so much damage. We do get an obelisk light and our shredder turret. That should pretty much take care of the entire right side base on its own. The lower right base is very weak. They don't tack up or anything. So for the most part, you don't really have to worry about the lower right side base too much. As you can see, this is pretty much their heaviest attack wave they're ever going to do. We do end up taking this blue Tiberium finally, and then we set up on the left side over here with another harvester as well, and then we get more of that green Tiberium down south, and we're all set up. So now we can take our MCV and go towards that middle section up here to take care of all these juggernauts. These juggernauts are the bane of the existence of those towers. They've already killed one on the left side, even though we haven't been doing the mission for a long time. I do have to stop my MCV for a short period of time while these predators fire at me from that lower right base, but that's okay. The obelisk is enough to take care of them, and it will go back to killing those juggernauts on the ridge there. So this whole time I move my MCV up. GDI is pushing into that base. I hope they're enough to defend. I start setting up all my obelisk here, and they start piling it on. It starts off a little bit slow at the start, and then you just see this conga line. It just doesn't stop coming. You're like, holy cow, what's going on here? And then they come with the Predator tanks, and they already have the railgun upgrade. It just gets better, doesn't it? But we have enough obelisk light that we can take care of it. I did forget about that sonic emitter up there, though. And then we start to run into a slight issue. They come with mammoth tanks already. Oh, This mission's been going on for like 8 minutes and they're already spamming this many mammoth tanks at us. It's a world of fun. But that's okay. The lower right base is also helping out with that attack wave there as well. So we tried to use the stealth generator to kill those infantry. Bad idea, wasted $3,000. I could have just dealt with it by myself. I plant down a Temple of Nod because that's how we're going to win the mission. And then we go back up to the north here, and uh-oh, I'm being stabbed in the back by the Skrin. Every time I've played this mission, the Skrin just get brutally beat down, so I was not expecting them to actually have attack waves here. But they come with Devastator warships, which just, well, devastate the backside of my base. I put down some anti-air and it does end up taking care of them. But then we come across a little problem. There's a little timer in that top left that's been ticking down. Uh-oh. So we set up a few more defenses here to try to maintain the pressure, and then the left side comes again with those Devastator warships, and there's not much we can do about it until the bad thing happens, and boom, we lose all of our defenses. It's just direct hit, and we're just absolutely hosed here. It didn't feel like there was much I could do, and then look at this big attack wave that's coming in now as well. We have more mammoths, so I try to double down, build more defenses so I can try to hold this position as best I can. But really, I should have backed off at this point and just let the GDI and Skrin fight each other. I wasted a lot of resources here. And as we can see, it's just being brutally beaten down. There's not much I can do about it. I do end up holding off that wave, but these Devastator warships are just absolutely plowing through on my defenses. I've spent so much on anti-air trying to fight them. Eventually, I do wisen up and I move my MCV back, because quite frankly, I just can't deal with that amount of pressure with the money I have. If you look on the map, my money's gone. I decided to nuke them. However, this was kind of the wrong spot for it. I should have done it a little bit to the left. But we do kill their tech lab, so we get a reprieve from the mammoths for a little bit. Right? Nah. So we end up losing this base here, and there's not much I can do about it. I should have just taken my MCV all the way back down south and let them duke it out for a little bit. So this is what happens. I end up having to sell it off, and I just abandoned the area entirely. Yeah, I should not have tried to wedge myself in between the two. I should have killed the Skrin off first, which the GDI are happy to oblige. Bang! So now I have to take the time to enact my plan. I need to move in and capture this Skrin base. It's my base now, and I'm not going to deal with it. We'll kill the gravity stabilizer. We don't want any more airships. I'm like, oh, perfect. They're not going to get an airship out, and then there's the Devastator warship. Unlucky. But we do have a SAM turret all ready for it this time because I was predicting something like this to happen. And there it drops from the sky, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. So now I need to start pushing to the right because they have a large attack wave that's coming in, and I need to be able to defend it because we need those, whatever those objective things are. Now they do shoot a shockwave artillery off. I do have a Temple of Nod. I could have master control terminal that, but I forgot about it. And then they come with an absolutely massive wave. Now, I do panic here a little bit, and I end up dropping a nuke on top of them. This was a big mistake. I could have finished off their MCV, which means they would not have built any more tech labs or anything of that nature. In fact, I could have been able to deal with their ion at the same time as well. And then not even a little bit later, they come in with another large attack wave here, which I defend off with a bunch of obelisks. I end up actually losing an obelisk from this attack wave. And they come with a bunch of zone raiders as well, or as troopers. And then another massive attack wave comes in. If we look at this attack wave here, this attack wave was only 40 seconds after the previous attack wave. That's absolutely brutal. So I started setting up in the back a little bit because I'm expecting that ion cannon to come down at any given moment here. And there it comes. Once again, that ion cannon is devastating me. And I just have no time to push out. I am completely money tapped this whole time, trying my best. Like my fingernails, they're dug into the earth, and I'm not going anywhere, brother. I'm doing my best to hold my ground, and this is not going very well for me. And then once again, not even 40 seconds later, we have another big attack wave come in with heroic units, which are just absolutely savaging my base defenses. But I have no MCV up there. It got destroyed. So I'm trying to move my MCV all the way back up there, and look at that conga line that's just absolutely going to town. Now, luckily, they do decide to walk back and forth a little bit, which gives my defenses time to kill them instead of them killing those phase generators. So we get our MCV back up north, and I get a little scared, those tanks coming in. So I plonk it down right away and I start slapping down more obelisk light. And just when you think it's over, they come in, they have another big wave that's just about to crash into me. This is only like 20 seconds later at this point. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's a conga line constant of mammoth tanks, riflemen, grenadiers, missile squads, firehawks, predator tanks, APCs, and pit bulls. They're all just constantly coming in a conga line the entire time. But we do a pretty good job of holding up. These buildings prevent them from shooting us, and we're tall enough to shoot over the buildings, and that's my saving grace here. All these ruined structures means they're not shooting me directly. So this time I decide to go drop a nuke on them again, but I messed up. You see where that arrow is? I should have dropped the nuke closer to that. I could have killed the MCV off, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But we did get a pretty good amount of devastation. Yep, sorry, I forgot to look at the explosion. I know, you should look at the explosions all the time, but I can't help it. I was moving my camera all over the place. They come in with yet another big wave, which is coming from where that arrow is pointing to right now. There's a bunch of war factories. I think there's 4 war factories in that location with like 3 or 4 refineries that are just absolutely cranking out these units one after another. So I go back down south. I need to grab another MCV because I think I'm about to lose my MCV again. So I come back up north, and well, they stopped shooting it because I have a stealth generator there, and I killed their pit bull that was looking at my MCV. Good for me. And then we come across another issue here. That ion cannon just blew up a big portion of my base. It took out, I believe, a war factory, a hand of nod, and a good chunk of my power plants, and I think it also killed my crane. Yep, here we go. It killed pretty much everything that was not useful, so I'm very happy about how it turned out. I set up a refinery up north there, which doesn't really work out for me. I have a harvester that's so weak. That refinery is in the worst possible location. It should be to the far left because it's the only place you could stick it, and it's kind of in a safe location. And once again, we have another giant conga line of mammoth tanks that come in there, have infinite resources, and they are putting it to good use here. They're absolutely decimating me. So I end up actually losing my entire front line once again here, and they even destroy that refinery, and I believe they even take that MCV out of action as well. But I have another MCV, so I'm not too worried about it. And once again, we launch the nuke, and I do miss the nuke again. I put it on the ion cannon instead of putting it on the MCV, because now they have another ion cannon. It's been a minute later, and they've already rebuilt one. If I had destroyed the MCV, I wouldn't have had this issue. Compounding mistakes are certainly adding interest here. And then once again, a super massive attack coming in. I mean, that's easily $13,000 worth of units, because mammoth tanks are what, 2,500 per? That's already 10,000 worth of mammoth tanks. I think it was 12,500 worth of mammoth tanks. And I'm just kind of looking for stuff to sell right now because I need money. I am out of money. We have no more Tiberium, because we can't really capture that Tiberium that's to the top right of us because they're just coming in constantly to bomb me with these Firehawks and their pit bulls looking at my stealth units. But we finally take care of this wave, and then we get to the next portion, which is unfortunately only 30 seconds later. And this 30 seconds, they have another conga line coming in. We have more mammoth tanks, more predator tanks coming in, and it's just non-stop violence. It was a really fun mission. But here we have another group of those tanks coming in. Another $75,000 or $10,000 worth of stuff, and I'm trying to find a place where I can put another war factory so I can get out more MCVs, because I need to start pushing out onto the map soon. And I need more harvesters as well, because they kept blowing up my gosh darn harvesters. I think I've lost like 3 or 4 harvesters at this point already, and they have another heavy infantry wave coming in, and at this time I actually have some shredder turrets out, so they should be able to take care of it. And once again, I am using the buildings as cover to build these obelisk lights so they don't get to shoot me right away. But even with all this here, it's just not enough. They have so many units coming in that it's hard to hold them off with the limited amount of money I have. But there's a reason why I have a limited amount of money, which I haven't discovered yet. So they come in with another big wave here, which was actually 2 minutes later, so I had time to build up some more defenses, and I used my nuke, and this time I'm actually smart enough to hit the MCV directly to finish it off, because they don't repair their MCV for whatever reason on this mission. All their missions, they do repair their MCV, I think. So we go ahead and we try our best to take care of this wave, but railgun mammoth tanks are one of the most brutal ground units you can fight, and I absolutely adore those dang things. And they finish off the rest of our defenses with those Firehawks. I just simply can't deal with those Firehawks. They are just brutalizing me. At least I hope they're called Firehawks. And then once again, they are pushing forward, blowing up every single obelisk I have, but I'm just pouring money into it until this happens again. Ooh. At least this one wasn't as bad as the other ion strikes have been. I do keep most of my defenses up and just my MCV takes damage. And here's where the part I noticed. My harvesters stopped working. I have the harvester bug, so all of my harvesters except like one have stopped working this entire time, and that's why my money was so slow and why I was getting beat so badly, because I just didn't notice my harvesters weren't working. And then the enemy AI comes in again with their big expensive like $14,000 wave to come crash against me, and we actually do clean it up fairly easily this time. I think like the enemy is finally starting to slow down because we did blow up their tech lab. And here we see that come to fruition. This attack wave here no longer has mammoth tanks. They might have a few spare mammoth tanks sitting somewhere in the background, but for the most part, they're out of units to hit me with that are of the mammoth category. And luckily they don't use juggernauts. So we go ahead and we bomb the last bit of this here. We take care of most of their power plants. We get the war factory. I almost looked away from the explosion, but I remembered to go back to look at it this time. And I'm so happy because now we can finally move out onto the map. And this is the only time I've been kind of jump scared in an RTS game. Oh, that was close, brother. They almost found my MCV and there's nothing I could really do about it. I didn't want to deal with it. So we go ahead and we walk on past. We start setting up some obelisk of light here, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. They should have like nothing left in this base. Yeah, no, we poked the beehive again. And now they're coming in from all three directions, hitting me from the left, hitting me from the top, and hitting me from the right. And they actually destroy all three of those obelisks right away. We put down 3 more, and we start getting some shredder turrets out to deal with all this infantry. And it's just a complete chaos fight. I love it. And then we push in further to the base, and then we notice all their war factors on the left here. This is where all those crazy psychotic units were coming from. And these things are just set to build units. They have no worry about money or anything like that. They just constantly produce units every single chance they get. So we set up 3 obelisks alike to start dealing with all the war factories here. And then we deal with the middle one first, and then we start planting more obelisks down to take care of like the refineries. And we'll just let them go to town and not worry about them anymore. So we start tasking these obelisks to kill more of the war factories, because these should be the last war factories they have. And then they won't have any more. We kill the bottom left one, we start working on the top one, and then finally, after all this time, that top right GDI player has been defeated. He has a few structures left, but we don't care about him. So I start moving towards that bottom right base, and I decide, you know, I could put this down here, but I could nuke instead and then just wait, and then we could put the obelisk down afterwards. So we launch it off, and I'm waiting. I remember to pan down to watch it this time, and then bang. Isn't it lovely? So we go down in the corner, we put down our obelisk of light, and we build some more refineries just because I can, because now I have tons of money and I don't care about anything. But then we have our old nemesis once again, the incline. One nemesis I can never beat no matter what map we're on. Stupid little inclines that I have to back off for because they have 2 singular units that would kill my MCV. So we go ahead and we start making some more obelisks of light. We whack them down, and we have a little power plant city right here, and we make sure our obelisks deal with everything so we don't have to. And then once we've done that, we take our MCV and we walk past the destruction while they have 80 million anti-air turrets. I don't know why they have so many, but hey. And then we go up to the north of the map. We find a good place to stick our obelisk of light in the perfect position. And then we get 2 more to deal with the ion cannon, and then we don't have to worry about anything anymore. We have finally beat this mission after a solid hour playing with no reloads. I did this all in one cut.
This victory will herald the dawn of a glorious new era, and I owe it all to you, Commander.
Oh, he thanked me. Isn't he lovely? And there we go. 598 structures lost. What a brutal mission. Oh, it's over. It's over. Alrighty, so what did I think of the challenge? There's a lot of things I could have done better during the challenge, but for the most part, I was pretty satisfied with how it turned out. This is the mission right here that I did not actually expect to beat, the Operation Stiletto mission. But I did discover the enemy does not rebuild structures here, and that you can capture these right here. Man, they just pretty much lose by default because this is how they build tripods and it's how they build Devastator Warship, so it's an easy victory. Overall, it was a lot of fun, and I do hope to do the Scrin version and the GDI version next. So I really hope that people enjoyed watching the gameplay and how I did each mission and the commentary provided. I decided to do something a little different, which was to do a lot of the commentary stuff instead of just like cutting and showing the mission and my audio during the gameplay of it. Hopefully people like that sort of thing and let me know. I do plan on doing the Scrin and GDI in the same format, so if you enjoyed this sort of thing, you'll get to see that later. Now those will come out probably sometime down the line. GDI is going to be a headache and I have to plan out how I'm going to do it, because there's a few missions where I'm not sure they're possible. Like Cairo, for example, is a 6-minute timer. I don't know if I'll have the chance to beat Cairo with a 6-minute timer. But overall, it was a lot of fun, and I do like doing these sort of challenges. If you guys have any games you really like playing and you would like to see me play or do a challenge on, let me know. I'm pretty decent overall in skill level, but there are some games I'm just not very good at, like racing games I'm not very good at, and fighting games I'm not very good at. But hey, maybe people would like to see me play different kinds of games. Just let me know down in the comment section below. And what did you guys think of this challenge? Did you like it? I did.